every single game they play. Not always here. They started up at Montjuic. As Graham mentioned earlier, they played a couple of games at the training ground, Johan Cruyff Stadium, and finally it was back to home sweet home, and they've been unbeatable here as well. And it's their home form that is partly one of the reasons why they've ended up as La Liga champions, Graham.
On the night, they've been competent, but they needed an assist from Bellerin just to put the noses in front again. And if Rafinha's man of the match, I think you had some competition from the tireless, inventive Cancelo, but you've made the case. If you win every home game, break a record in the 20-team league, then the power of the 3 home stadiums has been the power of how Barcelona have become champions here again, and deservedly so.
Well, it was 28 minutes when Rafinha scored the first, direct from a free kick, catching out Alvaro Valles. On 62 minutes, a gift from Bellerin, and he greedily accepted it to make it 2-0. 69 minutes, Winnisco gave Betis a foothold back in the game from the penalty spot after Gavi was adjudged to have brought down a Betis player. And on 75 minutes, Cancelo scored probably the goal of the night to make it 3-1, and that was it really as a contest. And from then on in, it was always going to be about the applause for Robert Lewandowski, and there's still time now for him to be honoured by his players and by the Barcelona supporters who have stayed in the stadium. We're going to hear hopefully from a player from each side, and maybe from that man there, Lewandowski, wearing the captain's armband. Where will he go at the end of the season, and where will Barcelona find the replacement? There seems to be at the moment 2 candidates, Graham, or certainly 2 people are being talked about. João Pedro at Chelsea, and Julian Alvarez, of course, who's already in La Liga and already at a club who would seem have absolutely no intention of letting him join a rival.
I think the Argentinian is a hopeless task. The buyout clause from a direct trophy rival domestically who don't want to sell, I'll predict that one does not happen. João Pedro is a case of negotiating. Chelsea's financial restrictions may help that deal happen. Names like Morici, names like Alex Sorlo have been mentioned, but who replaces this? You said big boots to fill, big man to throw about, to mantillar, like a sort of a tablecloth, throwing him up in the air. The crowd are delighted. Almost nobody, including the Betis fans, almost nobody's left this stadium, which is rare even for legendary players. And he's earned the respect and the affection, and he's earned your questions about how to Barcelona replace him well, and how easy is that going to be?
Well, it cost 45 million plus 5 million in add-ons when they signed him from Bayern Munich. He left the Bundesliga having scored 312 goals. Only Gerd Müller, the great Gerd Müller, scored more in that competition. And there were doubts when he arrived, mainly because of his, well, only because of his age. But he put paid to those doubts. It was 8 goals in the it was 12 goals in the first 8 games, and he leaves with 3 league titles in 4 seasons, plus a cup, and plus 3 Super Cups. He's not far off his 38th birthday, but he leaves. Well, he arrived a star and he leaves a legend. They're the words of the club, not mine. That was the statement that was made by Barcelona this morning, and that seems to sum it up perfectly.
Scored his 100th Champions League goal up on Montjuic at this club in Blaugrana colours. Some of his most astonishing goals have come against Madrid, most particularly the first Clasico last season, where his header from was one of the great headers that I've ever seen.
And we spoke, Graham, as we see his wife and children joining in the celebrations. We spoke at the start of the game about the magic of the last home game of the season, because all supporters remember the first home game of the season and the expectations that they had, and whether those were met or not. And of course, who was it that scored the winning goal on the first day of the season against Athletic Club? It was Robert Lewandowski.
team where the supply has been good. I particularly agree with one of the things you said, that like all great competitors, he was a bit gruff, Lamine, coming through. It was like, give me the ball when I want it. I'm the proven striker. And then he took a look and he watched and he saw, this kid's a genius. I will work for him. I will work with him. The friendship grew. And I think that that shows dignity and humility. Because very, very often, one of the hidden things about a dressing room is jealousy. But Lewandowski adapted, and that helped Lamine's progression. It helped the team.
Well, there really were no doubts last season. It was Lamine, Lewandowski and Rafinha as the front three. That trio has been broken up this season. Injuries to the two wingers and at times the fading form of the great man that we're watching here being given a fantastic send-off.
When they were in trouble last season and they didn't have Joan Garcia and Marc-Andre ter Stegen was injured, they did something that looked outrageous, and they went for Wojciech Szczesny, Tech. And the Pole was partly persuaded to come because his fellow Poland international, Robert Lewandowski, said, come on, Tech, come on in, the water's lovely. And Wojciech Szczesny did one hell of a job for a man who'd been retired. So that hidden contribution from Lewandowski was important.
Muchas gracias por venir hoy. Para mí es un día muy emocionante.
For me, this is a very emotional day, and it's a difficult day as well.
Cuando llegué a Barcelona, sabía que este club era grande.
When I arrived here, I knew this was a massive
Por
club,
vuestro cariño ha sido increíble.
but I've still been amazed at how you've treated me as supporters.
Desde el primer día me sentí aquí en Barcelona y también en este campo como en casa.
Since the first day I got here, I felt at home at the club and on this pitch, and I'll never forget you.
Me gustaría decir gracias a mis compañeros,
I want to thank my
a
teammates,
los entrenadores
my trainers,
y
my
a todos
coaches,
los que trabajan en este club.
and everyone that works for this club.
Ha sido un honor jugar por este club.
It's been an honour to play for this football club.
Hemos vivido hemos vivido grandes momentos
We've experienced
en
some
estos 4 años.
fantastic moments in these
Me
4
siento muy
years,
orgulloso
and I feel
por
very
todo lo que he
proud
hecho y
to
todo lo
have
que
been
hemos hecho
part of those
juntos.
moments.
Hoy me despido en el estadio.
I'm saying goodbye to the
Siempre
stadium,
llevar al Barcelona en mi corazón.
but I'll leave my heart here.
Muchas gracias a vosotros, afición. Una vez culé, siempre culé.
Thanks to all the fans. Once a Barca fan, always a Barca fan.
Muchas gracias. Visca el Barça y visca Cataluña.
Fantastic send-off, and he's given them as good as he's got.
He's given them the line they wanted.
That's a wonderful goodbye speech.
He's a showman, Pete, as well as a predator striker. It's been to the point, it's been emotional, it's been short enough, and it's finished on the high note. Hugs and kisses from Joan Laporta and Rafa Juste, his vice president. There's Anna, his wife, Anna Lewandowski, a Pole as well, a world and European karate champion. His 2 daughters look emotional and maybe overwhelmed. Lewandowski's often spoken about how Anna has been something of a physical personal trainer for him, comes up with routines, comes up with diet sheets that have helped him be in such wonderful condition, and the crowd, the stadium, echoes his name now.
And as you say, everybody stayed because they knew what was going to happen after the game. They knew that he was going to be honoured.
I don't know that I've been at a game where there have been 2 different guards of honours by each side. Barca welcomed out at the beginning, Pete, by Betis now, and also one of the longest guards of honour I think I've ever seen. The longest I've ever seen was here at the Old Camp now in 1999 when Manchester United won the treble, and they made a guard of honour for Paul Scholes and Roy Keane, who hadn't played that night because of suspension. to come out and gather the trophy. Lewandowski, the showman, playing this moment to absolute perfection. Hats off to him, Pete.